Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Cardano and its native token ADA. It continues to outperform most every other coin that we follow on this channel. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Now, the way that we're measuring outperformance right now is measuring it from the depths of despair on March 13th, 2020. You can see the light blue line is ADA. It's been in the lead many times, but it's always been at the front of the pack. Okay, here, it re-entered the lead here, and now it is essentially running laps around a lot of the other cryptocurrencies. Now, that's not to say that other cryptocurrencies have not performed well. You could argue that if we measured the ROI from the end of the last bull market, Link would be by far above the rest of the coins that we're looking at. So this is just one metric. This is one metric that we've been following, and this is the normalized ROI of these different cryptocurrencies as measured from March 13th, 2020. ADA continues to have a commanding lead. Now, the question is, will ADA break through some of these barriers that we've been watching? Now, I had this line drawn on the last ADA USD video that we did, this parabolic move. You can see our wick kind of came down to it. Again, this is just a random line at the end of the day. But one of the things we've noted before is that a lot of times we tend to move up above it and then kind of move sideways until we get into it. Then move up above it and then sideways until we get in. Above it and then sideways. And you can see, this is essentially going parabolic. Okay. For instance, sideways movement from here before we got to the edge 29 days. Sideways movement from here before we more or less reached it 24 days. From here to reach it 5 days. We'll see if this trend continues. Obviously, it would be nice if ADA is able to break through the $1 milestone, but also importantly would be for it to break through the $1.38 milestone, which was basically the prior all-time high. So this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for ADA to break through not only $1, but also $1.38, so it can actually go into price discovery mode. If you look at the ADAETH chart, we've discussed this as well. For full disclosure, I anticipate at some point over the next few weeks, it's not financial advice, of course, but I would anticipate a fairly impressive move by Ethereum. But what I'm hoping is that before that move occurs, that the ADA rally can continue. One of the things we've noted before is that the ADA peak last cycle, I'm not implying that we're at a market cycle peak or anything, but when a lot of the times in the past when Ethereum makes a huge move, a lot of the other cryptocurrencies will sit still. And ADA has peaked against Ethereum 3 times, as we've showed in these local tops here. So 1, 2, and 3. And we just went up into that level again. We've briefly retraced back down. What I said last time, and I'll say it again, if there exists a condition that can propel ADA above this level and much higher, for instance, in this case, it would be potentially 150% higher, which is where we went last time, then these would be among the conditions that could do it. Okay, Bitcoin's at 48, 49K. Ethereum isn't doing a whole lot of anything at the moment. And if altcoins continue to fly and ADA continues building its momentum, then I think this is a barrier that can break. The main thing that we need for this to break would be Ethereum needs to not go on a major run yet, and Bitcoin needs to not capitulate. If we get those two things, then I think there's a decent chance that ADA will blast through this historical milestone it has had against Ethereum. If you look at the ADA Bitcoin valuation, let's actually zoom out to a daily time frame here. This, we flirted with the level, or right at the same level last time where we ultimately got rejected here. Okay, so the same thing applies in my opinion. If there exists in the future or at any time the conditions to get ADA's valuation against Bitcoin above this level and onward, now would be about as good a time as any. Okay, Bitcoin is, as long as the Bitcoin volatility reduces. If Bitcoin capitulates, or if Bitcoin re-enters price discovery mode and starts going up quickly, then there's a decent chance that this comes back down. However, if Bitcoin sits still and doesn't do much of anything, then I think the odds are in ADA's favor that it could blast through this level and maybe start looking at other milestones. And if we were to come up to, say, this point right here, from the current valuation, that would be another 123% move or so. And against Ethereum, remember, it would be about 156% if it were to come up to this milestone against Ethereum. If it went up to the same level it reached Bitcoin, or against Bitcoin that it did in 2018, then, you know, that would be a very significant move, like 300 something percent against Bitcoin. I'm not necessarily holding my breath for that, but at the same time, ADA has been knocking down one milestone after another. If you guys follow the channel, we talked about the move back in 2017 where ADA went from 2 cents to 13 cents. And then after it did that, it made a nice move from around 13 cents up to 39 cents. And then it consolidated there for a few days. And then after that, it went from 39 cents up to around 76 cents, I believe. It was somewhere in that area, around 76 cents. And then after 76 cents, it made a nice move over the next week or two, the final push in the bull market up to 138. So we've more or less accomplished the same thing this time, except longer time frames in between. We had the 2 cent to 13 cent move, the 13 to the 39 cent move, 39 to 76 was a lot short, it was more short-lived, and now we're at 90 cents. So hopefully we can ultimately complete this and go to $1.38, thus completing this major move all the way back up. Okay, it's been a long journey. A lot of people have been with ADA for a long time, and you're reaping the rewards, right? You're of course reaping the rewards at this time. If you guys think that ADA, if you think that ADA might necessarily not make it up to these prior levels, then you could always systematically take some profits if you wanted to, skim profits off the top depending on where you got in. If you're all the way, if you were getting in down here, I'm sure there's people that have taken some profits up here, but it doesn't mean that you can't let the majority of it ride, or at least let a certain amount of it ride, because I am fairly bullish on ADA as I've always been, essentially since I first heard about the project, and I would like to it's my primary hedge against Ethereum, right? My primary hedge against Ethereum, and so I'm paying for this extra volatility that ADA has with units of risk, and so because I'm doing that, I want ADA to outperform Ethereum, which you can see it has been doing quite substantially as well. So ADA is outperforming Ethereum. This is what we need. It's not something necessarily to go brag about. We took on the risk and it's paid off, because in the same way that ADA is doing very well right now, there have also been times where it was underperforming Ethereum, especially during, say, the bear market. So if you're doing well right now, you paid for it with units of risk, and just make sure you're responsible. What I hope to see, in the same way that Bitcoin approached its prior all-time high and then ultimately blasted through, Ethereum approached its prior all-time high and then ultimately blasted through. Now I want to see it be ADA's turn. I want to see ADA approach its prior all-time high of around $1.38 or so, and then blast through and go into price discovery mode. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Remember, we also have the premium list altcoin season sale. You can find a link to that in the description below if you want access to the premium content, including the TradingView indicators, Telegram alerts channel, the risk dashboard, weekly reports, weekly videos, and more. Make sure you check it out in the description below. At the very least, subscribe to the channel. Remember, none of this is financial advice, but we're just looking at the markets from a more data science perspective. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.